back when I was married, a couple of times a month, my wife and I would have sexual relations. And it's interesting how, as a couple, you negotiate the agreement on how often you're going to have sex. Because I remember I would have liked to have had sex every other day. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays would have worked for me, with an occasional omnibus session midday on a Sunday. But my wife said no way. She thought that was excessive. So I said, well, how about we do the weekend one plus two others during the week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, for example. And she said, look, Graham, we'll have sex when I'm in the mood. So I said, it would be helpful to me if we could mark on the calendar the days when you think you might be in the mood, so that I can be prepared. Because if we're not going to have sex on a particular day, I will have to implement the contingency plan. And she said, what does that mean? But when I started to explain, she said actually she didn't want to know. And that was where the discussion stopped being productive. I did try to raise the issue again later. I suggested a compromise. And I even tried to work it out mathematically so that it would be fair to us both. But I ran into difficulties because, well, for sake of argument, if she wanted to have sex once a month and I wanted to have sex 30 times a month, then if we did it 10 times a month, I'd be having sex 1/3 the times that I wanted. But she'd be having sex 10 times as much as she wanted, which would be unfair to her. But if we did it only twice, she'd be having double the sex, but I'd be having only a 15th, so not fair to me. And I could not find a way to balance the figures so that it worked out fairly for both of us. I mean, if there are any mathematicians watching this, perhaps you could solve it and leave your answer in the comments. And yeah, so by default, we ended up with the twice a month situation throughout most of our marriage. Although it wasn't every month. And as you can see on this graph, towards the end of our time together, the frequency did diminish considerably. I mean, there is that one spike there in 2006, but, well, that's another story.